Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I am excited to share the key highlights, experience and valuable contributions I have made during my internship at Liberty Private Limited, Labuan Branch. Moving on to the next section, 3 primary objectives were outlined to ensure the effectiveness of my internship. Firstly is the bridging theory to practice. My industrial training was to bridge the gap between accounting theory and actual workplace practice. Through the training, I was able to apply what I learned in my studies to real accounting activities. The second objective was to gain exposure to actual accounting operation. During my training, I was involved in tasks such as reviewing and coding invoice, checking supporting documents, monitoring payment status, and handling vendor inquiries. The last but not least is to develop my technical and analytical skills. I was exposed to systems such as SAP Concur, which is used for invoice processing and payment monitoring. Proceeding to overview of the organization, Liberty Private Limited is a part of a well-known global insurance organization. Here, the office was established back in June 2016 to serve our regional clients and partners. For our daily schedule, office hours are set from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. The office location is also very accessible as it is situated conveniently near the MRT station Semantang. Throughout my internship, a hybrid work arrangement was practiced, as I was required to come into the office every Tuesday and Wednesday following my supervisor's schedule. Next, I would like to introduce the fantastic team I work with. I have included 2 photos on this slide. The first was captured on my final day at the office and the second was taken during one of our regular weekly team catch-up meetings. The finance department consists of approximately 25 members. In terms of demographic, the female-dominated environment with a gender ratio of roughly is 1 male to 5 female colleagues. Operationally, the finance department is divided into 3 core is account payable, account receivable and record to report. Alright, so during my time here, I was specifically assigned to the account payable team where my primary focus was centered around the invoice processing workflow. Let's move on to the specific responsibility and tasks I handle within the AP team. Firstly, I was heavily involved in invoice coding and processing. This required me to carefully review incoming invoice, ensure proper general ledger coding and process them accurately into the system for timely payment. Second, I assist with the new vendor onboarding process. This involved gathering and verifying required documentation, running necessary compliance checks, and setting up new vendor profiles securely in our system. Third, I was responsible for handling payment status inquiries. I frequently communicated with internal department and external vendor to provide updates on invoice processing and payment schedules. Then finally is I manage statement of account, SOA handling and reconciliation. So this task required me to compare vendor statement against our internal records so I can identify any discrepancy and follow up on outstanding item to ensure our account were clean and accurate. I would like to share some highlights of the engagement activities I participated in throughout my 6 months here. This event played a big part in making my internship memorable. Firstly is we regularly have monthly team lunch and dinners. This gathering provide a wonderful opportunity to bond and get to know colleagues from other sections. Secondly is we had fantastic after-work sport organised by the social committee every month. So for instance, in August we went archery, while in other months we went bowling. Also they play badminton and try out the pickleball. I genuinely enjoy all of these sessions as they kept us active and refreshed. And the last but not least is we also had special activities during our month-end closing periods. Since we couldn't access the core financial system during system lockout, so the social committee organized fun event for us to relax from lunchtime until the end of the workday. Moving on to the critical analysis section, I would like to highlight an operational issue we encountered during my internship and how it was resolved. The issue involved an incorrect currency payment. Initially, the vendor requested payment in USD as stated on their invoice. However, because the vendor entity was registered in Hong Kong, a mistake occurred during processing and the payment was mistakenly made in HKD instead. Once the error was identified, we took immediate action. We discussed the matter with the vendor to arrange a refund or correction. Ultimately, both parties mutually agreed on a practical solution. We proceed to make the correct payment first, and the overpayment or discrepancy was offset against the following month invoice. So this experience taught me the critical importance of careful verification, especially regarding the vendor profiles and currency details that show me how effective communication and problem solving can resolve. The second operational challenge we face involved urgent payment and vendor onboarding timelines. Normally, our standard vendor onboarding SLA takes about 1 to 2 weeks because it requires completing strict due diligence forms and through bank account verification. However, we occasionally encounter situations where vendor had very tight payment deadlines, making it impossible to go through the full onboarding process in time. To handle this situation, we could request special approval for an urgent payment from the relevant management authority. However, this required us to prepare extensive supporting documents to justify the urgency, which add a significant amount of workload to the team. As a preventive measure, moving forward, we learn to manage expectation better by advising vendors to submit their invoice much earlier. This ensures that their processing timeline comfortably meet our standard SLA, preventing unnecessary rush and administrative strain. Based on the operational challenge and experience I encountered during my internship, I would like to propose 2 key solutions and recommendations for future improvement. Firstly is regarding payment processing and internal control. It is crucial to strictly maintain our standard SLA and compliant protocol. While unexpected vendor deadlines happen, relying too heavily on emergency workflow creates unnecessary pressure and risk compliance gap. Therefore, for any urgent payment request, we need the early verification and solid documentation must be systematically enforced. This ensures that even when we fast-track a payment, our internal control and risk management remain uncompromised. Secondly, we need to enhance how we handle payment inquiries. Previously, our generic finance mailbox experienced heavy congestion because our legacy SAP system restricted remittance advice to only a single email recipient. When vendor or internal department want the updates, it leads to a high volume of repetitive queries. So to solve this situation, a system enhancement was introduced to update the SAP configuration, allowing multiple remittance advice recipients per vendor. Last but not least, the conclusion of my 6-month internship journey at Liberty has been an invaluable and transformative experience. Through hands-on involvement in account payable, handling invoice processing, managing vendor onboarding and navigating operational challenge, I have not only achieved that goal but also grown significantly both professionally and personally. I also have gained the practical technical skills, learned the importance of strict internal control, and experienced firsthand the value of teamwork and effective communication. Before I end, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my university supervisor and industry supervisor for their continuous guidance and passion, as well as to my wonderful colleague in the finance team for welcoming me, supporting me, and making this internship such as memorable chapter of my career development. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Bye. Bye-bye.